Hello and welcome to the Story Behind the Stories, your weekly look at the pages of the Neepawa Banner Press. Thank you for taking a little bit of your time and spending it right here on NAC TV with us. I'm Eoin Devereux, news and sports reporter with the Banner Press. Great to be back here. Took a little bit of a vacation. They told me to get out for a week and enjoy life. I did my version of that, but now I'm back, refreshed, recharged, and ready to talk about everything that's going on as we gear up heading into the fall here in and around Neepawa. Joined this week here by Casper Wehrhahn. Casper, good to have you in here.
Good to be here, and very well-deserved break for you. You
work
very hard around here. So.
I don't know about that. Let's be honest, all right? Let's not sort of sugarcoat it,
I mean, hey, you trudge through council, you do all the sports, well-deserved in my book.
I toil at the arena so you don't have to. But again, there's so much other stuff that's on the go, and great to be able to cover it this week. And this week's stories seem to have almost, Casper, like a theme to them of sort of goodbyes.
Yeah. We've got a lot of sort of stories going along with a farewell trend. Some good ones, actually, and we have our first one right on the front page, don't we?
That's right. You were able to cover that one. And before we get into the actual meat and potatoes of the story, I just want to delve first into the front page. Like, sometimes with some of these stories, it's straight meat and potatoes. Headline, picture, story in there. But we like to get creative from time to time, and we've tried to be doing that a little bit more this summer. Our Canada Day one, I think we got a little creative with. There was another one, I forget what the event was, but another event where we tried to make it jump off the page a bit. And Casper, this one is yours. You put a lot of time and effort into sort of making this one a montage as a sort of a thank you for Mark Morehouse, who, as we're going to be talking about, is stepping away from the RCMP.
Yeah, it was interesting to sort of try and do some different things with the front page this week, and I'll be honest, I still don't know if I'm 100% happy with it, but that can also just happen after you've been, working on the same thing for an hour or so, and trying a whole bunch of different things with it. But it turned out fairly decent.
Yeah, because again, if you're unaware, for many newspapers nowadays, and even a lot of community newspapers, most of the assembly and all that is not done by the reporters per se. They're done by very specialized individuals. They got editors and all that do these types of things. Neepawa Banner Press, we do everything in there. Anything you see on the page, we've done. Whether it's the reporters writing the stories, getting the pictures, putting together the structure of the page, Diane Warner, who builds the ads in-house. All the ads that you see on there, one or two are, MCNA is what the organization's called. That's provincial-wide. But most of the ads are actually built in-house here. So everything is done within this building. And that is, honestly, for many papers, that's the exception now. That's not the rule. So, but again, we got to, just before we went on, I noticed I made a spelling error in one headline. I apologize for that. You can play this mystery out. Find the spelling headline, spy the error. So, have some fun with it, Maybe put a pool together with your friends and track it down. So.
Yeah, what's the prize? Clout.
Yeah, there's an error in there. I apologize for that error. I won't tell you where it is. You'll find it yourself, And first one to call the radio or to call the TV station with it wins a free prize. A copy of the Banner Press.
But isn't that free all the time?
All right, we're getting a little off track here. This is what happens when I come back from vacation. I'm full of beans. So let's get back to this. A celebration for Mark Morehouse and his time with the RCMP. And Casper, that was yours. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so of course, as we mentioned before, we have some photos on the front page there. Most of them from Mark being in the community here, but we also do have one throwback photo from his early years, which I actually quite enjoy. He's attending a dinner party there. And the full story and a couple more photos are on page 10 there. I just got in touch with Mark here and the current staff sergeant, Colby Argue, for this story to get all the details. And there will be a come and go farewell party for Mark on September 9th at 6 p.m. onwards at the Neepawa Legion here. Basically just a chance to come by and see Mark, say hello, chat, and wish him luck on his next ventures, because he is retired from the RCMP now. He's been here for 36 years, Neepawa for about 10. And obviously before coming here was stationed in a few different locations. He actually told me what those locations were and how long he was there for each one. A very well-traveled individual, and of course working at those different locations and the Neepawan area. He's very knowledgeable on the comings and goings, just general area stuff of the Spruce Plains RCMP coverage area there.
That's right. Now, it's very congratulations to Mark to be able to step away from this, and well-deserved. He's served a great time and great all throughout Manitoba. He has served here. If you're interested in what he's going to be doing in the future, you can actually check it out. We're not going to be talking too in depth about this story, but Kira Patterson covered town council for me since I was away, and she's got a story about our new bylaw enforcement officer. You know, if you're able to put one and one together, you might figure out who that person is. But again, won't spoil it for you. You're going to have to read Kira's and find out what's going on in terms of the things going on in and around the town of Neepawa. But again, Mark, congratulations. I've had so many dealings with you through the years, and you've always been a straight shooter, figuratively, a straight shooter with me. Not literally, although I've pestered you so much over the years, maybe you've wanted to, I don't know. But you've always been straight with me. The information you've been able to provide, you've provided in an expert and prompt manner. Obviously, there is that sort of kinship with media and police, and sometimes it's a little combative as well. But there's always been a good respect, I believe, between us. You've shared the information when able to. It's always appreciative, and we've appreciated what you've done. On a personal level, I'd say that definitely. I don't want to put words in other people's mouth, but I feel like maybe I'm parroting what a lot of other people are thinking themselves. So, is there anything else about that you want to touch base on, Casper?
That more or less covers it, but I'm sure people within the detachment are certainly going to miss Mark, and people here too, because he doesn't live in the area anymore. He's actually up to our distant neighbors over an hour away in Brandon there, so he's not living in the community anymore, but he's going to be sure to come down and visit.
An hour? I can get there in about 45 minutes. 35 if I'm racing. And I don't get caught by the cops. But there's one less cop that could catch me right now, so, maybe I've shared too much. My bad. No, but this segues actually kind of interestingly into another individual who's decided it is time to step aside, to move on to the next step in their journey. And you can find that story on page A2. There's a 2-section paper this week for the Banner Press, and this one comes from our MLA, Eileen Clark, who has represented the Agassiz riding and has announced via social media, because everything's announced via social media right now, it seems, but announced on her social media that she will not be seeking re-election in the next provincial election. She was very thankful for those who have assisted her along the way. She's been very thankful to be able to serve the people of this riding as she has for since 2016. So it's going to be very interesting. There's a couple paragraphs on that, and that really, Casper, in my estimation, it kind of really opens up. Like, that's the question now. Who's going to be our next MLA? I shouldn't say that, because she is a member of the Progressive Conservative Party, and there's no guarantees that a member of the okay, I couldn't even get that out. All right. No, it's gonna. in this riding, it's going to be a Conservative member unless something monumental happens. Let's not kid ourselves here. So it's going to be interesting to see who is that next person to step up and take over as a representative of the PC and ultimately the representative of our riding.
Right, yeah. I don't recall how long Eileen has served in this position. You might have stated
since
it in
2016.
2016, right. And I haven't had a lot of close dealings with her. I've actually only seen her twice in person. And actually, the Minnedosa Trail Park story is one of those. And we actually got to sort of introduce ourselves to each other there. I was more sort of background covering things in our first meeting, so I didn't have a whole lot of personal touch there because I was just doing my thing. But you know, she seems like she's done a lot of work, as much as she can, in her role to really, you know, get things done, especially bring attention to smaller rural communities, because I know that can be a big problem with Parliament, is it's more so focused on, you know, larger centers for a lot of things, but being from a smaller place herself, that's really seemed important to her. So I think that's something that people in the area probably quite appreciate a great deal.
That's right. And again, I haven't agreed with her on all the policies of the Conservative Party, the Progressive Conservative Party. Some of them I do, some of them I don't. But that's the thing with Eileen I've found over the years. You can have those dissenting opinions, those different viewpoints on certain things. That seems to be disappearing a lot from politics. Not just on a provincial level, a federal level, and just globally, it seems. I wish we could get back to a version where people can disagree and still be respectful about it and not be entrenched. Like, Eileen Clark has always struck me as a person who has an opinion on something, but has the willingness to change their perspective on that opinion over time.
Right.
When new information, when new perspectives come into play, that's what living is about. It's about evolving, about becoming a little bit better, about seeing the other perspectives. And that's one thing I think from Eileen that I've seen over the years. I haven't seen it from every politician I've ever had to deal with, I've ever had to interview with. Well, you know, but from Eileen, that's one I saw, and that's genuine and that's appreciated, because you have to represent everyone in your riding, not just the ones that voted for you. So again, Eileen, I wish her the best, as she's still going to be working over the next, it's probably going to be, 16, 18 months? God, I hope it's 16 or 18 months, but we'll see. You never know.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
You never know with these things, and we hope it's the further date, just so that, well, it's a pain to do. We don't want to go back to the polls too early if we don't have to. Yeah, it only takes a few minutes, but it just, in the moment, it seems like a hassle. Yeah. So.
No, but it'll be interesting. And again, let's be truthful here. The Agassiz riding, for the most part, usually always leans progressive conservative. That's the truth of the matter. So whether you're conservative, whether you're liberal, whether you're NDP or Green, you want the best candidates available in your riding for every party to make it a competitive balance, to make it a race, to make this riding matter at the end of the day. So hopefully not just for the progressive conservatives, but for every single provincial party that has somebody in here. Hopefully they'll bring somebody to the table that brings something to the table. But one more thing here. We're talking about goodbyes and farewells. We have a short story here. Definitely want to emphasize this. Gladwin Scott, who has been writing the news for Carberry and area for us for the last few years, he is stepping away from doing that on a weekly basis. It's that time. He's been at it for a while. You know, he deserves to have a little bit of time to himself there, but he's always been great with that. This week is the last sort of report from Gladwin Scott, and Ken Waddell wrote up, and you'll see it in our letter section, just a letter of appreciation to Gladwin for everything he's done over the years. On a personal level myself, I've known Gladwin. I've been in this business, Casper. I've been doing this, whether it was radio or newspapers, 18 years now. And my first dealings with Gladwin, honestly, were about 17 years ago. I was working in Brandon at the time for CKLQ, the radio station there. And I was covering shifts, and Gladwin, if you know him, he's big into the curling. He's been a huge part of curling events in Manitoba over the years. Curling and baseball were two big passions for him over the years. And it was an event, some sort of event going on in Brandon at the time. Those were my first interactions with him. I also had interactions with him when I left Brandon to go work for a radio station in Neepawa for about a year. Then I had dealings with him again when I moved to CFRY in Portage la Prairie. And really had huge dealings with him when I finally came back to Neepawa.
Right.
For the Banner, and now the Banner Press. And he's always got time for you. He's got good conversation, lighthearted individual. It's always been a pleasure to be able to speak with him on things, get the perspective on things. And I just want to say I commend you, Gladwin. Thank you very much for everything you've done, not just for the paper, but for the region of Western Manitoba. It's greatly appreciated. So, well, I got sentimental there for a moment. I got to get out of that. Get back into my normal mode. So.
Oh no, but certainly, like, not knowing Gladwin myself, I certainly get the impression that he's a guy to be very involved in the community, and for him to have collaborated with us to cover Carberry and help us in that way, it's very much appreciated. It can be hard to get out to everything. Of course, we've got a large coverage area, and we've only got so many staff, and we don't always get submissions for these different events. So it's been a great help for him to be able to do that for us. And he got a great honor as well. He's an honorary life member of the Baseball Hall of Fame, which is something that he was heavily involved in as well earlier in life too. So congratulations.
All right, let's talk about some new beginnings here, some new creation and opportunities happening right here in Neepawa. Kira Patterson covered this story, and it's about the Back 40 Trail Park. It is getting a little bit of federal assistance, a little bit of a helping hand in the terms of financial stability. They have received around $550,000 from the federal government that will be able to go towards upgrades to the trail park. That is unbelievably positive news. The best thing about it, Casper, Kira goes into it, is the interesting thing is they put this request in before the trail park was actually done. That shows you how the government pace at times.
Yeah, and that's it's funny you bring that up, because that's actually the point that I highlighted that I wanted to talk about, is that they applied for this in 2019 before it even opened, and are just getting it now. So
better late than never.
Yeah, exactly. It was potentially meant for something else initially, but something else, but still to do with the trail park, I should specify. But now it'll, of course, be going towards any future upgrades that they want to do, because, of course, the park still has a lot to get done. So
that's right. You can find that story. It's on page 2 of the Banner Press. A2, once again, as I said, it's a 2-section paper this week. It's interesting because we're getting all this money now for the swimming pool. We're getting all this money for the trail park. It would be fantastic. And again, this is my opinion. This is not on the agenda right now. This is not the opinion of the Banner Press, Ken Waddell, NACTV. This is just me spouting off the top of my head right now. It would be fantastic if the town of Neepawa, in conjunction with some of the volunteer boards that operate the arena, the Yellowhead Arena, for example, the curling rink, the golf course, we're able to work together and get these types of grants for these other ones. All those 3 that I mentioned, they're all volunteer run. They're not owned and they're not operated by the town of Neepawa, unlike in some other communities. And but if they were able to work together to do something like that, to bring in a few extra dollars, like $500,000 to the Yellowhead, how impactful would that be? Or to the curling club, how huge would that be? I wish that they'd be able to. And I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. The town does a great job of getting everything that needs to be done and looked after. I just wish these 2 could communicate a little bit better. So, when there's an election coming up, maybe that'll be the Kickstarter that's needed.
Yeah,
so.
You never know. Yeah, we were actually talking about this in the office the other day. Well, I say the other day, it could have been a couple days ago.
Could have been March.
Could have been in March. But yeah, we were talking about like how awesome would it be if the Yellowhead parking lot could be paved and not be gravel anymore, because it gets wear and tear on it really easily just being gravel, so it gets pretty rough uneven. But if it was able to be paved, it would look really good. It would stay level for a lot longer and need a bit less maintenance, hopefully as well. And of course, the arena just being an older building, general upgrades would be fantastic.
It's older than me. It is really old, man.
It's got a long history, even before
the old salt mine.
Yeah. So
no, but again, that was my 2 cents. And again, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus in terms of the town or any of those volunteer boards who are doing the best they can with what they can. I don't want anybody to take it that way. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just really thinking aloud here. So, all right. We're running a little shorter on time, but we're going to quickly delve through into the B section, the Farmer's Advocate, our monthly sort of look at agriculture in and around the region. This week, because I was away on vacation, Casper, it was yourself and Kira really put the work in on there this year, or this month, didn't you?
Yeah, we got a good arrangement of stories here, some photos. The first story that we actually wanted to touch on here is done by Kira, and it's surrounding Penno's Machining, I believe. Penno's Machining from Eden there. And they did sort of like a hay handler type mechanism here. And there have been, things like this before. There's a few different varieties that you can see online if you're not sure quite what this machine is here. But basically it's the one that they've got here. It's kind of unique because unlike some of the other varieties that you can find, this one has two forks on the same thing here. And instead of being static, you can actually move the 2 forks individually. So you can pick up one bale and lift it up off to the side and then go pick up another bale that's located somewhere else. And then that way you don't have to set down the bale you first picked up, line things up, and then pick them up again.
It's almost like ambidextrous machinery type
pretty
thing.
Pretty much, yeah, an ambidextrous machine. So it's quite fascinating to read about, and there's some good pictures there that sort of illustrate it as well. I was really blown away that this specific design hadn't been done before. That was mentioned in the story there because they were seeking a copyright for it if it hadn't been done yet. And even the copyright lawyer was just like, I don't know how someone didn't think of this already, but hey, it hasn't been done, so.
It's one of those things, I looked at it was like, why didn't anybody think of this already?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's quite fascinating, so thank you, Kira, for covering that. And real quick as well, there was a field day this month on August 9th, so that was a while ago now, but it was a very good story for the Farmer's Advocate, and the information is still current since it is ongoing research. There was a lot of topics covered there. I went out there personally myself to the field there. It was a literal field day. but with a vast variety of topics there. I won't go into too much, but there was one topic there that personally really sort of interested me, Eoin, and that was biofumigation. For anyone who doesn't know, that's the natural fumigation of crops using, well, plants.
What a wild concept.
Yeah, so the particular plant that they're using for this and researching more on is actually mustard, because mustard has a lot of natural fumigation properties, it turns out. Not all strains of mustard have it, they mentioned, but there are some in particular that are really good at it. Some of those actually are too spicy to be used as a condiment mustard, so they don't have use that way, but yeah, so it was really interesting learning about that, and they went into a lot of the details there, some of the different varieties that they're using for that, and even a sterile strain, so that if you just want to use it for fumigation at that one point in time, if you're harvesting it for that purpose, you won't have to worry about bringing in the seed for it, because some of the farmers, they don't want to bring in the seed to seed it again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very, very neat to read about.
These are the types of little interesting things that even if you don't think you're directly connected to agriculture in and around Western Manitoba, I still hope that you do take a little bit of time and learn a little bit about that, about the technologies like Kira talks about the fundamentals of the fields like Casper talks about here. These types of things are types of educational endeavors that we hope you're going to get something out of each and every month when we do the Farmer's Advocate. Now let's go back to the A section here. We only got a little bit of time left, so we're going to quickly dive through a couple things, sports related. I want to give a shout out. First and foremost right now, Dax Turner. We've done stories on him many a time over the years. His exploits in track and field have been just simply tremendous, and they continue on. He is if I remember correctly, a second year at the University of Manitoba with their track and field team, but he has also been part of Team Manitoba at the Canada Summer Games, which recently wrapped up in Niagara, and the 20-year-old did a tremendous job getting a silver medal in the male triple jump event. Congratulations to him. We've got that story on our sports page, along with several other stories related to sports. Obviously, NACTV football is going to be starting up again. I've got a story with head coach Chidi Small talking about how the program is going to be faring this year. We've got an update on the board of directors for the Neepawa Titans. A lot of new faces on the board, as well as some new representation right at the top. Had a chance to sort of delve into that. Wonderful to see that the team is adapting and moving forward in the future. Some fresh faces, maybe some fresh perspectives, and it's good to see. So if you're interested in that from a sports perspective, there's a whole heck of a lot of that you can look in and check out. So we wish we had a little more time to sort of delve into these. Well, not really, a half hour is enough of us, really, let's be honest.
And we want you to read the paper. We put a lot of work into it, so always be sure to go out and grab a hard copy either way. That's
right. But again, if you're interested in helping out with the paper in any way, shape, or form, story ideas, you can give us a call at 476-3401. That's the number we can be reached at. Or you can get in touch with us via email at news@neepawabanner.com. Anything sports related as we head into the fall, a lot of stuff like I talked about, football, hockey. It really starts to kick in the high gear. If you have anything like that, we'd be interested. And not just those, gymnastics, figure skating, volleyball, anything and everything, want to cover it. But we need your help from time to time, so it'd be greatly appreciated. 476-3401, anytime. Thank you very much. And again, Casper, thanks for sitting in today.
Always great to be here, and I look forward to the next one.
And thank you for tuning in to the story behind the stories. Have a good day.